Within hours of the firing of Tucker Carlson, failed former President Donald Trump was interviewed on Newsmax. This is an interview as confused as I have ever seen Donald Trump. One of the first things he was asked about was his opinion on the firing of Tucker. And what's, of course, very funny about this is that we now know Tucker hates Trump. Tucker's text messages revealed in the discovery process of that Dominion lawsuit, which ultimately led to a nearly $800 million settlement. There was this text message where Tucker said, "I hate Trump passionately, and I can't wait until we can stop talking about him." So Trump, of course, knows that, but I think Trump still realizes that, at least in some sense, he may need an ally in Tucker Carlson for his primary and for his eventual general election campaign if he gets there. So here is Trump reacting to the departure, aka firing, of Tucker from Fox.
So Tucker Carlson was sitting here 2 weeks ago interviewing you. He's gone. What do you make of that?
Well, I'm shocked. I'm surprised. He's a very good person, a very good man, and very talented, as you know, and he had very high ratings. So we're just learning about it almost as we speak.
Now, a couple people wrote to me, and there's more to this, which we'll look at, saying, you know, David, if you read the expression on Trump's face, this little smirk, Trump is saying one thing, but projecting another one with the smirk. And that's Trump's reaction, which is Tucker got what was coming to him because he said bad things about me in those text messages. It's an interpretation. I don't know. You make of it what you will.
You and I just said, wow, that was something. That's a big one. I don't know if it was voluntary or was it was somebody fired. But I think Tucker's been terrific. He's been, especially over the last year or so, he's been terrific to me.
There's a lot of turmoil over there at Fox. I mean, $787 they just paid. Why would they get rid of a guy who's performing? Why would somebody do that to their business? Because they're losing money right now. Their stock has gone down.
Well, I was surprised that they made a settlement on that case. I thought that was a case that should easily be won. And they made a settlement. Look, you'll have to ask them. I'm not representing them at all by any means. But the Tucker situation, again, you don't know if it's a firing. Maybe he left because he wasn't being given his free reign. He wants free reign, maybe. But
now, of course, we know that Tucker was indeed fired, and we know that there were many problems. Tucker's coverage partially responsible for the lawsuit that led to the settlement. Tucker saying horrible things about Fox management in text messages released as part of that lawsuit. Tucker currently sued for having a discriminatory, misogynistic, sexist, racist production apparatus, and potentially another lawsuit coming from Ray Epps. So Fox News realized, at least to some degree, that Tucker became a problem for them. Continuing on this very confusing Newsmax interview, we saw DeSantis asked by Hannity about Trump. Now we see Trump asked by Greg Kelly about DeSantis, and Trump takes a different approach than DeSantis did.
I want to get to Nixon in a moment. By the way, Ron DeSantis, do you think he could be a good president someday? In like 8 years, 16 years? I mean, you endorsed him once. He's got some talent. You're kind of crushing him right now. Someday, could he be president?
Well, I endorsed him once, and he was losing badly. And because of the endorsement, he won in a landslide literally the following day. Look, right now I'm very down on him. I'm a believer in loyalty, and I'm a believer in other things. And he has obviously not run a very good campaign because he's getting crushed. So
now understand that there is no campaign yet. That's the most interesting thing about this. Trump is acting as though DeSantis is running a campaign. Now you could argue, well, he sort of is, but he hasn't announced because he's feeling it out. Okay, it's not actually a campaign, and there's a question as to if and how the dynamics will change.
I really don't know. I don't know him. You know, I don't know him that well. I agreed to endorse him. He came over to see me. He was one of 100 people that fought a little bit on the impeachment hoax number 1, impeachment hoax number 2. They were hoaxes. They were just hoaxes. And based on that, I did it because I didn't know the people he was running against. He was running against a man that was way up in the polls, leading by a massive amount. That election was over. When I endorsed him, the election was over in Ron's favor. I mean, Ron was getting ready to quit. So, I don't know. I'm very disappointed in him because I'm a loyal person. Maybe
that's really what this is all about. He could have just skipped to that.
To a fault. I'm a loyal person. and somebody gets you into office, and then you're telling people, well, I don't know if I'll run against the president. You know, I mean, life shouldn't have to work that way.
And there it is. The anecdote I regularly refer to, which is DeSantis was asked, would you rule out running against Trump? And he didn't rule it out. Trump remembers. Trump bringing up that anecdote. He has not forgotten about that. The topic of the January 6th riots came up, as it often does. And listen to what Trump had to say. This is really wild stuff.
They're weaponizing law enforcement at a level that nobody's ever seen before, and it's very dangerous for the country, and our country is not going to stand for it. You know, we have very strong people in this country, and they've been sitting back and watching. They've been watching. They've watched that whole situation at the Capitol. They didn't walk in with guns. They shot Ashley Babbitt. That officer, bad things should happen to him. He shot her, and she was totally defenseless. She was like an American patriot. You look at her.
She was a patriot. Listen, that's been investigated. And it's interesting to continue to hear the people who say we support the police, we defend the police, et cetera, all of a sudden say, hey, even though there was an extensive investigation into the death of Ashley Babbitt and the officer was found not at fault, they insist that the officer did something wrong. Why is that? It's because that principle of we support the police only when it's convenient.
Online, the flag and the whole thing. She was an American patriot. They shot her and nothing happened to him. If that were the other way around, there would have been hell to pay. But the people of this country just aren't going to take it anymore.
Well, I don't know exactly what Trump means by that. Is he alluding to violence? Is he alluding to how people will vote? We never know. Last clip. Donald Trump asked about his former Attorney General, William Barr. Gets a little dicey.
And most of my people were smart and tough. I had some bad ones. I mean, wish I had a better Attorney General, somebody that was tougher, that wasn't afraid to fight. He should have been fighting instead of being afraid to be impeached. He was petrified of being impeached, just petrified. It made him, there's a couple of words I could use. I would never use the word impotent, of course, but it made him absolutely useless when it came to election fraud and so many other things. And now he sits back and he pontificates with, you know, some of these various shows that are on. I wish I had a better Attorney General.
Well, remember, Trump ran on, I will hire the absolute best people. And so by his own standards, if there is anybody to blame for William Barr, it is Trump himself. So this is what I expect to continue in terms of DeSantis versus Trump, whether or not, listen, even if DeSantis doesn't announce, until the point at which DeSantis says, I'm not running, if that is what is coming, this is what we're going to see. We are going to see Trump continuing to attack DeSantis for disloyalty and DeSantis playing the I'm too good for this, I'm too classy for this, I'm above it thing, which only makes him look weak to the average Republican voter. We will have more. We're going to take a quick break. Lindsey Graham had his bubble popped on CNN yesterday, and many other things to discuss with you. If you're looking for the perfect Mother's Day gift, our sponsor, Aura Frames, creates incredible, ultra-quality digital frames for displaying pictures and videos. You can preload the frame with your favorite memories, pictures, videos for mom to see when she opens it up. You can update it with unlimited photos and videos from anywhere using the Aura Frames app. No fees ever, no limits on storage. Aura Frames was voted the #1 digital picture frame by Wirecutter, The Strategist, and Wired Magazine. My mom loves the frame I gave her. I also have an Aura frame in my house. When we were just traveling, I was able to immediately add pictures which pop up on my mom's frame. And I've noticed the photos look like real prints, such high resolution, and the display is calibrated so that you can not even tell it's a screen. Aura Frames has an awesome Mother's Day deal for my audience. You'll get up to $30 off their best-selling Carver mat frame and free shipping. Go to auraframes.com/Pacman. Use the code Pacman. The link is in the description.